What's up guys, Bryce here, and we're back at it again for another video. And in this video we have round 4 of the North American Racing League at Red Bull Ring. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. If you do, leave a like down below, and let's get right into this race. This is qualifying right here. This is lap 1 that I did, which wasn't the quicker lap of the 3, only 2 actually, because the third lap got invalidated in turn 1. So really this championship battle is between me and Paul Godai, who is in first right now in the championship as we speak going into this race. I'm not sure what the points are after this result here, but he's in first in the championship. So this is really just about me kind of being consistent as I can, because if you didn't watch the previous races in Sebring, I messed up the pit stop and pretty much came in last. But all the other races I've won, which is really good, and that's, you know, really strong, and that's what I need to be doing week in, week out if I want to win the Pro-Am Championship. So this is our quickest lap right here. You can see going up the hill, we get nice smooth throttle. And before going into this race, I was going to be driving the Lamborghini, and there's no Lamborghinis on the grid at all. I would have been that only car, but after just doing more testing and just looking at people in the session, there was no Lamborghinis. And you know, that's for a reason. Like, people aren't just picking these cars because, oh, you know, I want to drive this car because it's fun. It's because these cars are pretty quick, and there's no Lamborghinis. So I switched from the Lamborghini, I tried the BMW, and I tried the Ferrari. And as you can see, I chose the Ferrari. First off, I love the Ferrari in general. I have a lot of memories with this car, and I've won a lot of, well, not one race actually. This season was my first ever race wins in league racing, but a lot of really good races with the Ferrari. And it just felt a lot more comfortable. I love the pace of it compared to the BMW. It was a little bit better, and I was just more consistent with the Ferrari. You can see this is our fastest lap here. We go a little bit wide, and we just keep the car on the track, and that's going to give us a really good lap time. I think our final lap was a 1:28.6. You'll see there on the left. None of the lap times are loading for everyone else, but that puts us in P7. You can see our third lap here. We just go a little bit wide off the curb there, and that's qualifying. P7 in the Ferrari. 4 Ferraris on the grid. We're the highest Ferrari up here. We're surrounded by tons of BMWs. And our championship rival, Godai, is in 21st place. Unfortunately, he just didn't put in a good lap, which is kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to have a nice battle with him on track. But again, that qualifying lap kind of shocked me, and I think everyone else on the grid as well, because I just didn't expect to get that quick of a lap going down into turn 1. The race has just gotten started, and you can see we're going to move to the inside a little bit. Again, these are pro drivers that I'm racing against, so I'm not in the points. You can see someone does a massive dive bomb and just takes a car out, which is not what you want to be seeing in racing. But going down into turn 2 and then 3, right up here, a decent start. We let some guy go around the outside. I think that was Miranda. Let him go around the outside just because, again, we're not fighting these guys really too hard, and I just needed to be consistent. I think you do get a little bit more points. It might just be 1 point. I'm not exactly sure. I just found this out recently, but every pro car that you're in front of, you do get another point. So I probably should have kept that in mind, but I think I definitely would have done the same thing that I've always been doing. So I'm trying to just stay close to these pro guys in front. We're in P8 right now. We have Dench behind us, who's another quick driver, as well as pretty much everyone on this grid. But I could kind of relax just a little bit because, again, our rival is really far back, but I still needed to kind of push the car. On the first lap, I just tried to stay as close as I could with these guys up in front, as you'll see here. But then once kind of the race went on, I just tried to focus on fuel saving, which is what we did. And you'll see at the end that it didn't really... fuel saving was something I need to work on because I did run out, and I was very, very close at the end with fuel. So I'm definitely going to work on that for the next race. And you can see we're sitting in P8 now, and we have 7 BMWs in front of us, which is pretty crazy, the amount of BMWs that we have in this race. And we're going to do a nice little speed cam, so you can just see all the cars on the grid. 45-minute race, 1 pit stop, like we talked about before. And yeah, being in the being one of the only Ferraris, I definitely enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed being in a Ferrari. Ferrari's an awesome car, but just BMW just didn't. I don't know, just didn't suit my driving style as nicely as the Ferrari did. And the Lamborghini was a great car as well, just with the high downforce, just couldn't really compete on the straights. A few Audis though, which are very similar. You just saw there, Godai going through turn 3 right there. So he's a little bit far behind, just trying to pick up the places and pick up the points. But even if I do win this race, I don't think I'll be in front in the championship yet. I'm still in P2. So by next race, which is going to be at Zolder, which I am really excited for Zolder. I love Zolder. You have chicanes, a hairpin. It's just an awesome track, and I'm really excited for that and be practicing a lot for that track. And you'll see, track guides as well. As always, so as the race went on, I sort of started to fall back a little bit from that top 7. I just started to kind of go off the pace just a little bit because, again, I kind of wanted to focus on saving fuel and saving tires towards the end. And if a pro driver behind me got close and he had an opportunity, I wasn't going to fight it at all. I would even lift just to let him by. And you'll see what happens here just in a little moment as Dench gets really close to me, and then I just decided to let him through because it was just going to be a waste of time. And you can see we're on board here with Matthew Dench, another really quick driver in this league who has been here since season 1. And he gets a really nice run coming out of turn 1. He's in the McLaren, a really interesting car choice, but he somehow makes it work. And he's going to make a pass around the inside. And you can see I lift just a slight bit so he can pass me before the corner, and then he gets that move done. And you can see here, Nicholson on the inside has a little look on the inside, but that outside line is just a little bit faster than the inside. And you'll see he's going to be there. And we just move over to catch the slipstream from Dench. And I tried to use Dench as kind of a slipstream so we can just save a little bit of fuel, but his pace was really strong, so he just started to pull away even more. And then that allowed Nicholson to kind of catch up to me. But you can see I'm pushing a little bit more now just so I could try to stay in Dench's slipstream and save a bit of fuel. But he just started to pull away a little bit more, and his pace was definitely really quick. His last lap was 2/10 quicker than me. And around a track like this, that's pretty big of a margin. Really, the key to being faster on this track is carrying speed through the corners. That's it for all tracks, but really just carrying a good amount of speed through the corners. You don't want to brake. You pretty much need to brake at the right time, carry the car out to the edge of the track, and that's really important for being fast around here. And you can see here we have about half hour left at this point, and you can see Nicholson is right behind us in the Audi, and I think he was the only Audi on the grid. So essentially a Lamborghini because it uses the same engine and chassis, I think. And he's going to get a nice run going down to turn 3, just like Dench did. I don't know if I lifted here. I think he just went down the inside. He just fully sent it down the inside. And like I said, he kind of knew that I wasn't going to defend it too hard because he's a pro driver. And then he's able to get by. I get a better exit just due to being on the outside nature of the track. And we get in that slipstream nicely. And this is where I was really able to get nice fuel saving in because he didn't pull away as much as Dench did. I was just able to stay with him. And Zamperlini behind us, season 1 champion, been racing with him for 2 seasons now actually, and everyone has respect for him, but he's right behind us and he wasn't able to pass me either, so I was kind of just sitting in between a Audi and a BMW, and I was able to fuel save a little bit from Nicholson for pretty much a quarter of the race, like a long portion of the race. I was fuel saving from him, which was pretty nice, and I was able to save about 0.1 a lap or even 0.2 a lap if I was pretty lucky. But I don't do too much fuel saving in general, so I haven't really mastered that skill yet of fuel saving, but I definitely knew that I was going to be fuel saving a bit by, lifting into corners. You can short shift a little bit, and that'll just allow you to use a little bit less fuel. It's a small amount, but if you can do this in every single corner, you definitely can gain a lot of time, which I wasn't doing. 18 minutes left, and this is the lap where we went on a pit stop. You can see a lot of time has gone by and we're still behind Nicholson. You can imagine just how much fuel I've saved, and Zamperlini just went into the pits that lap, so he's going to try to go for the undercut. So this lap is going to be really critical that we kind of just put in a nice lap. We're not going to pass Nicholson unless it's an obvious answer. But you can see I lifted just a little bit before the brake zone, about 100 meters before, and that's going to allow you to just save a little bit of fuel, and even more by staying in the slipstream. And you won't lose too much time either because you're in the slipstream. That other car in front is braking the air for you, and you can see just how close we get to him on the straight. One thing about the Ferrari, and I was kind of surprised how little Ferraris there were. A little surprised by that. A lot of BMWs, but only 4 Ferraris on the grid. But the Ferrari was just really quick on the straight. You can see just how much of a gap we were able to kind of close on Nicholson. The BMW is definitely up there being quick, but compared to the Audi, the Ferrari just seemed really quick on the straights. And in general, the Ferrari is really good on the straights, and Spa does really well. But he's going to go into the pits the same lap that we did. We did a bit of fuel saving. Our pit stop honestly wasn't really any shorter. I also got a really horrible exit coming out the pits, but going into the pits here, he's going to go into the pits at the same time, which isn't really ideal because there's you can't really carry the same amount of speed when there's a car in front. I usually don't use the pit limiter, but this time around, I just wanted to be rather safe than sorry. And it's a really short pit lane, so you wouldn't gain too much compared to like a track like Sebring or Long Beach where the pit lane is just really long. Go into the pits here, and we come out the pits just a little slow. It wasn't the fastest exit I could have done. Ferrari has a lot of wheel spin coming out the pits, and we get a nice exit coming out the pit exit, and there we go, we're back on track. And you can see Zamperlini's going to be very close right behind us. You can see him there coming out the pits, and by the time we get to the actual corner itself, he was quite close to me. And I wasn't sure at the time how much fuel I'd have for the end of the race, but usually with my driving style and the way I drive, going into corners, I'll go on the brakes before I fully release off the gas, and that's not ideal because you're going to be wasting a little bit of fuel. And I was using 0.1 of fuel more than I needed to, so that's going to add up over time. And then going towards the end of the race, I was really on the limit for the amount of fuel that I needed, and after this lap we'll show you the last lap of the race, and that's when I really was struggling towards the end of the lap, and I started pushing more towards the end to kind of put in that quick lap time at the last lap of the race. And yeah, I mean, the guys at the front are really quick, and I think Ariel, the guy who won, he put in a lap record for the North American Racing League. I think it was a 28.4, which is really quick. And just what's more impressive is that he did it on the last lap of the race with worn tires, low fuel level, but worn tires, high downforce setup as well, which is pretty impressive. Last lap of the race here, and you can see just how close Zamperlini is, Miranda, and the other BMW drivers behind, and you can see it is BMW's chasing a Ferrari. Now going into turn 3 here, I think I lifted before, again, because I was looking at my fuel, and I was estimated to finish with 0.3 left, which is a really small amount of fuel, and it's just an estimation too, so I just wanted to be sure that I finished this race, or that would have been bad, because again, this is really important for the championship. You can see Zamperlini close the gap quite a lot going into turn 3. At this point, I'm pushing pretty hard, so no more saving fuel. Pretty much pushing the car to the limit, at least as far as I can push it. And then you'll see what happens at the end of the race. Here we have a bunch of BMWs behind. Again, I wasn't really put under too much pressure. I kind of expected Zamperlini to pass me right after that pit stop phase, but honestly, he just wasn't able to make a move on me. And I was just able to kind of stay in front, which is good on my part because I don't lose any time, and then I don't get caught up in a 4-way BMW fight, which is good. Going to the last 2 corners here, use the curb on the left, just like we explained in my track guide. You can check that out too. Curb on the inside, you can see the light in the dashboard is yellow, so that means that we're going to be running very low on fuel, and you can see I'm full gas here, but the car is just starting to bog down. Fuel is just running out, and we come across the line in P9 overall and first in our class, with Paulo Godai down in 15th place. But again, he came in 2nd place, so I'm not going to be getting that many points compared to him. So as it stands, I don't really know what the points are right now because they haven't been released yet, but by the next race you'll see them. But that bad race at Sebring definitely put me in a bad spot, so it's just really about being consistent till the end of the season. I think we're going to be really close on points going into Zolder. There is a drop week, which means that one race all the points will be dropped, which is your worst result, and that's for all the drivers as well. So we'll see what happens going into Zolder. Again, it's just going to be about being consistent and having fun. That track is really awesome. I do love that track. Probably going to be try to get in a couple videos there. I'll think of something to make. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you enjoy, leave a like down below. That was Red Bull Ring, and I'll see you guys at Zolder. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.